You're listening to the RFBL Report with your hosts, Bear and Pat Downsky.
I only realised when I was up in Wolverhampton, the New Forest owner is an absolute cuck.
Truly, the rich get richer.
Juice, because I only drink juice.
We got some typical Peking bullshit.
Here comes 5th place New Forest.
He's cagey, he gets on base, he's a consummate pro.
Warning, things are about to get weird.
Smashing.
Smashing, baby.
Fucking good, bruv.
Austin Powers, I'm sure, is a national treasure for England.
He is. What do you mean?
Do you have a cultural awareness of Austin Powers?
Yeah, of course.
Well, I don't know. Seems kind of busher.
If you don't know Austin Powers in this country, there's something wrong with you.
Well, there you go. Okay.
It's like Monty Python.
Sorry. I'm sorry I had the audacity to question.
Question if it's no care.
All right, I'm going for this.
Yeah, go for a lot.
Greetings, salutations. Welcome back to another one of the RFBL reports with myself, Pat Downsky, and joining me once again, the one, the only. Maybe he's actually joining me this time. We'll have to see when all's said and done, but maybe he's just Garfield. Are you a real Garfield kind of guy there, Bear?
I love Garfield, mate. The cartoons were a classic growing up. Like,
yeah,
in the newspaper, there used to be a Garfield comic strip every day. It's great.
One man's struggle against his own demons.
Yep.
I mean, if Garfield's not there, then John is clearly losing his grip on reality, right?
Yeah, it's basically the equivalent now, isn't it? You're John and I'm Garfield.
You know what? Like, I think I might have lost my mind a little bit last season because just a little recap of the RFBL. The Cascar River Kings won it. I almost called them the River Kongs because they're such monsters. No. But they made it. They bashed their way to a weird ring, and not perhaps the result we were thinking. I really thought that at some points, like, I thought I had pretty good odds versus LA. I felt like with the injuries they had, like I had a pretty big advantage there, especially with the momentum that I'd carried late season when I got some injured players back. Miguel Gomez, prime among them. I didn't feel very good versus Kirkland. I thought it'd probably be a 6-game Kirkland win. I didn't see that happening as it did, but it did. And I know Springfield would have clearly had a big advantage against me, but like they were missing two of their best kind of players, and I felt pretty confident that I was about on par with them without their best two players. You know, if you delete like 16 WAR out of that lineup, then I'm about on par. That's just it.
If you just take the main bulk of the team out of a team, they'd become less of a team.
Yeah, like that's just how she goes, right? Like,
oh yeah.
So I was about to. I was looking at some of the teams that are doing very well so far this season, and I was like, if you take, I don't know any of these players, man. I'm looking at Zurich, and I'm like, if you take Tim Easterly out of Zurich, I don't know that player. Like, he's sure raking this season, but I just mean like, that's a guy that's breaking through this year. It's not like a very super well known, or like Jake Van Krimpen. Like Van Krimpen's, I think, having an all right season, or Havlicek. Like he's having some good contributors there, but there'll be time for that later. I know the season already started. We're 50 games in, so we're approximately like a third of the way through the season. Pay no heed. We're doing a season preview anyways, baby. More like a recap of what happened in the off season, eh, Bear?
Yeah, more recap. You know, chat bullshit. Hope our predictions are right, even though they're 50 games in.
Yeah, our predictions have a way better chance of being right when we're a third of the way through the season. Oh shoot.
I mean,
Let's just start.
I did write some down on my Excel sheet to so I had it remembered and see how bad I am. But
Like I did too, but I mean, if I was saying like, I don't know, if I was like the Growlers are going to take a big step forward, or I think Isle of Man's going to win that division handily, something like that. Like, would I say that now? Probably not. I don't think I'd be intellectually honest enough to just be like, "Yep, I'm making that prediction anyways," even though they've kind of tripped over themselves early on. But if we were to start, like, how would you like to do this? You want to do this by division? You want to do this by like alphabetical order, going through some of the off-season stuff that happened? Like, what are you thinking here, man?
let's go alphabetical order. Let's start with Beijing.
Alpha. Okay, Beijing. Let's you know what, we can do a thing too. We can say let's say either over, under, or about where we expected. Like we can kind of retroactively say where if they're having a disappointing start or a good one. What do you think?
Yeah, it sounds good to me. I can roughly say what I predicted. Then.
Yeah, and then we get that pre-work that we totally both did. Absolutely, we can get that worked into this somehow. Anyways, Beijing. They're 25-27, third in the Asian division. What do you think? Is that an over, under? About where you expected?
I had it about right. I had him about second in the second area.
He's about exactly where he was last year too, because he finished last season with an 80 and 82. Beijing did. So being 25-27, they're kind of getting that out of the way early. They are approximately like even Stevens. They're -5 run differential. They're not really up or down on Pythag. They're not really up or down on one-run games. Like they're there. They are as they were last year as well, which is, I think, probably under for me. I thought this team was going to take a step forward, truthfully. I liked adding Alexander Boz. I think when you have an opportunity to add a pitcher from Shanghai, or leading up to this season, when you had an opportunity to add a pitcher from Shanghai at a reasonable cost, you did it because they were running some really abysmal fielders, and they have that stupid ballpark that has all the weird angles and stuff. It's based off Fenway, right? So it's got the big friggin' wall and the stupid angles and stuff. Not to be rude, but like, fuck Fenway. But anytime
it's being truthful.
Anytime you have an opportunity where you can buy low on a guy like that, or Alexander Boss probably hasn't met exact expectations. His R WAR is lower than his WAR. Like, he's been good. He's been very good. He's a good pitcher, but he hasn't had that breakthrough where you're like, man, that's a really good pitcher. Good bet by Beijing. I appreciate that. I think maybe some of the guys they lost, because they lost a lot of guys out of this team. Maybe they lost a little bit of wins. So, like, I was expecting between them adding Carlos Fa, Wildfire, as a free agent. They paid big for him. He's making big bucks, $31 million a year, but he's coming as advertised. He's almost pacing for 7 WAR. So, like, some of these guys that I thought like they added that were really good ads, like Alexander Boss or Carlos Fa, it's been equalized by guys going out or guys underperforming, or So yeah, it's tough. Like Cheng, who say Cheng. Still having a good year. He's playing good. Not playing amazing. Like a 59% drop in offensive productivity from last year to this year. That's not ideal. And he'll bounce back. He's a good ball player. But like right now, that doesn't help Beijing make that jump up the standings.
Yeah.
What do you think's gone wrong here?
I just don't think players are performing to the levels that they should be. Like,
sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but I just, I think they're allowing too many runs and scoring too few.
But like the players that are meant to be good and like not performing to like their full potential.
Yeah, like Riley Hussein is playing really good, and Coeli is back, and he's playing real good. Best catcher in the league, kind of good. So like, I don't know why they're not scoring very many runs. Like, yeah.
It just seems like they've decided like off pretty cold, and I guess they might be starting to warm up a little bit, but
It feels like Dave Hernandez might have had like his absolute best outcome last season. It looks to me like he's really fallen off. Oh yeah, he's lost some power. He's lost some eye. That's a silver slugger, but he's 35, right? Yeah. Dave Hernandez came in, had a great first season. He's not looking amazing. Elvis Ryder, not doing great in the DH spot. Tommy Reyes is a Gold Glove shortstop, but he's a negative with the bat. And the Scorpion has found his way to sting here in Beijing as a reasonable fielder, reasonable batter. Okay, cool. That's a neat player. So, there are some guys that are carrying the water here, but it's not enough right now. Maybe they're getting a little unlucky. Maybe they're just unlucky. But we will have to keep an eye on Beijing. They do have a prospect pool, so they could make some more key additions. But let's move on to our next one. The Cape Breton Woodcucks. Last year, 78 and 85. This year, 27-24. They're playing pretty good. What do you think? Over, under, or about where you expected?
I think it's roughly where I had them, to be honest. They did pretty well last year, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, not a bad team at all.
And it looks like they're continuing their form from last season, even if they've done really badly against the Bears in this last sim.
Yeah, something to be said for that. If you lose to New Forest, then you're doomed. They're in an interesting spot. Like they just trade blocked Willie Medina, who's having a somewhat rough start to the season offensively, anyways. But he's been a long time Woodcuck. It looks like he'll be a free agent at the end of the season. Where he goes and for what could make a big difference on this team moving forward. Mike Plummer obviously not playing as amazing as he did last year, where he probably got some MVP votes and I believe won the Napolio. Yeah, he did, for fluke of the season. Some guys just kind of taking that step back. The catcher not looking he's actually looking good, but not as good perhaps as he has previously. That's Ju Long Hor. It seems like the offense could score a little bit more.
Yeah.
And the starting pitching, not.
It's similar to Beijing, and like the players that started who it did very well last year are not as hot this year.
I really like some of these guys breaking through though, like Sondra Hansen. Seems like a really good pitcher. He's having a nice start to the year. Yeah. I always liked Jong Hoon Lee, and he's doing okay again. He's having a pretty strong start to the season. I shouldn't make it sound like this team is having a bad year. They're not at all. They're actually, I think they are both. This is going to be cheating. About where expected, but also below, because I thought they were going to be first in this division.
Yep.
And I thought it wasn't. I thought it may not be close. Somebody else in the division is surprising. I think quite a lot, but I think the Woodcucks good chance at a playoff spot. You get that free wild card in the VL, and we'll see what happens with them, right?
Oh yeah, certainly. I have very high hopes for the Woodcucks. Long live the Cucks.
Indeed. I mean, like it's actually kind of a battle for that free wild card right now.
Yeah.
If you look at it, yeah.
Yeah, I've been looking at it. Don't you worry.
Cape Breton's only a half game back of the Dragons, but like. I don't know. I feel like we got to go back to Shanghai to touch base on what they're doing. But I feel like Cape Breton, maybe if they keep Medina, maybe a better team, at least this year.
But it all depends on Medina, what they get for Medina and how it works out for them.
Yeah. All right, let's move along. Cascar River Kings, last year 89-73, your people's champion, and. This year they are 30-21. That is the third best record in the league. I was about to say second, but technically 30-20. Hannibal is a better record. Anyways.
Oh boy.
River Kings. What do we think? Over, under, about where we expected?
Well, you generally know my thoughts on the River Kings. Normally I'm quite negative about them every year because I look
Yeah.
at the team, I'm like, I fucking hate this team, man.
Hey, just because they play the game the right way, you can't hold that against them.
You call it the right way, I call it.
Swinging for the fences.
I see baseball slightly differently. Probably very very wrongly because of my background, but I mean it's about where I expected them. I can't say they can do any better. Like
First in the
because
Pacific.
we all know what the Castle Guard bullpen is like from a year-to-year basis.
Mm.
So, and I'm sure
They're
you're going
in
to touch on that.
They're having another bad year, truthfully. They're 10th in the CL right now. So the starters, actually, though, rounded into... starters are doing good. So they traded for Carl Jolly out of Pyongyang, and he's coming about as advertised. 3.7 WAR is what he's pacing for. He's been worth almost a win and a half so far, pacing for 200 innings. Like that's a solid first year for Carl Jolly and the GAR. The bullpen... I should say the rotation. Dong Woo Min having another strong year, pacing for approximately 4 WAR. So like they've kind of done this rotation by committee where they got 4 guys of approximately a similar level that could win any night, and then a 5th guy that blows that they drop in the playoffs. But the bullpen's been pretty rough. I think you saw Tycho Tarnovius take a step back. He's now 35. But he's taken a step back, and they could not... Seemed like they were throwing some things at the wall to try to find some setup guys that could work. Taegoon Park coming over as a free agent signing. He played for the Bears last year. That seems like that was a mistake. It seems like it was a mistake to think a Bears reliever who's a fly ball guy could come pitch in Castlegar. But he was not a solution. Juan Rodriguez coming from the Isle of Man. Again, kind of a bad start to the year. Ground ball guy, you'd think it would play up here. Not so much. So, and Dirt Dog, Lasagna, Ambrosia and Lanya, who had an amazing season last year, like fringe reliever of the year. If Flaubert in Springfield had not had such an epic season, this would have gotten it with a 3.3 R WAR, 21 saves, and 208 ERA plus. Really good season. Not doing the same right now. You could say he's getting a little bit of BABIP or something there because the ERA plus is real bad, but the FIP minus is real good. So there's a bit of a swing in what you can expect from that. But it bears watching because if they're going to keep pissing away games with a pretty good offense, even in spite of missing a couple guys early on, and the surprising emergence of Aaron Crack, like who the hell is Aaron Crack?
I don't want to know.
Well, it's antithesis to a Bear player because he's so bad defensively that he is hitting with a 140 OPS plus, 38 dingers, and he's only pacing for 3 WAR because he is just so abysmal with the leather, but he's so decent with the bat.
Yeah, that's all that matters. Can he hit? Yeah.
Can he hit? Yes, he can. If he's healthy, which he isn't. Steve Beasley suspended for being a crotchety old man. Castlegar, I don't know if you saw this, Bear. Did you see that there's a Steve Beasley extension?
Wait, what? Wait a minute.
There's a Steve Beasley extension.
Oh boy.
I think maybe cart before horse, truthfully.
Yeah, but it could be much worse.
The overall value of that is super low comparatively. I just mean that, like, anytime you got a 35-year-old having their career worst season,
yeah,
you got to buy the dip, right?
Buy the dip, take it.
You gotta buy the dip. It's how it works. But Steve Beasley has started to decline a little bit. But if he can continue to be, like, even having his career worst season or whatever, he's pacing for approximately 4.5 WAR. So, like, nobody's crying. Nobody feels bad about this.
You can't complain if his career worst season is a 4 WAR season.
I mean, like, at this point in the game for this guy, like, what's his reason? I think he's looking to add. He's looking to add to 62 WAR to see where he stands amongst the all-timers at the position. So that's what he has to fight for, and we'll see at the end of the day if Steve Beasley is maybe the best center fielder in league history. Probably not. I think Asai is like considerably better.
Yeah, there is Hasai.
I was 64 WAR, but he started at 26. Yeah. Tough. But if Beasley can put up, he's signed at age 40. If he can put up a few more years of approximately 4 WAR, then it probably looks a little closer, right?
Oh, yeah. He definitely a shout within the realms of one of the best.
Yeah. Anyways, we can move along. What's next? Because you said you think the GAR is overperforming.
I said it's about.
I would agree. About right. Okay. I think they're over. I think they're over by a little bit. I don't expect the starting pitching to hold up that well over time. The bullpen might get a little bit better, but that is something they probably have to fix. Anyways. Moving along, the next team, Chicago Sloths. They were last season 98-64, first in the Eastern Division. They are currently 27-25, first in the Eastern Division. Tied for first, I should say, with Motor City. What do you think? Over, under, or about where you expect?
I mean, it's the Eastern Division. You just throw shit at a wall and hope it sticks, don't you?
I mean, they are improving. I think the Eastern Division is improving. It was not the worst division in the league last year.
That was a different division last year.
I will say that like some of the comments, I think there was comments because one sim, like 14 games in, I think fourth in the Eastern was better than second in the Pacific, and that's kind of it's completely inverted at this point. So maybe premature.
I think Chicago are pretty good, but I find them a difficult team to like analyze on the ground.
I think they're worse than last year. Like, I'm not being shitty about this. I just mean I think they're worse than last year. And I think it's just that like you can look and say like just do the math, right? They added Hurst Kanan and Paul Colding, right?
Yeah.
2 perfectly cromulent players, relatively veteran players. 3.2 WAR is what they were worth last year. They let Aratov go, 3.5 WAR. So you'd be like, that's approximate. Like they're making that up in the aggregate, but it's not really working that way, is it?
Don't Google Paul Colding's current WAR.
It's bad. It's real bad. He's pacing for minus 5.8 WAR. Like at this point, just put Sivanen back out there. Because if Paul Colding cannot field and cannot hit,
you put him second.
You know what? You know what it was? Is that he was using him at shortstop. He got him as a shortstop again. It happened again.
Oh no.
So he's perfectly fine at second base. Like if you look, he's neutral defensively at second base. It's that he was in 30 games, he was minus 6.5 zone rating at shortstop. And then when you combine that with a 31 OPS plus, you get a guy that is single-handedly bringing Chicago down to probably below expectations. I think it's safe to say that they're below expectations. The pitching's still good. Their bullpen's strong. The starters are holding up their end of the bargain. It's just like some of the lineup is just some guys have stepped backwards. Like Leroy Brub not having a great start to the season. Again, it's not bad, but it's not what we've kind of come to expect. Ryan Frost is raking, though, so he's having a bit of a career season. Palmsvik is doing good, maybe not as good as you'd hoped. Sivanen, again, doing all right. Like, they've got this core, but it's all the people around it. Like Hampus Amdahl, who is minus. He was negative WAR last season. He's going to be negative again this season. Like, that shortstop position, he's just struggled for so long to fill it. And it's really... I think it's clear that it's holding them back a bit, but it's difficult when you look at this and you're like, catcher's not hitting. Now, Lindqvist has been a reasonable hitter before. It's reasonable to assume he could probably hit better, but that's your number 5 hitter. Amdahl is not hitting. Colding's not hitting. Herskinen not hitting. Wang in center field doing okay. Like, that's fine, but you're looking at 4 out of 9 bats that are really not cutting it. Especially if you're not getting elite defense out of shortstop or like second base there, and you're not getting offense. That's really tough to deal with. And that sounds bad, but like they are first in the division. They're tied for first in the division. They are pitching great. Some of these guys will kind of turn it around. Like, I'm sure somebody will be able to hit and play an infield position here, right? Like, it's just not going to be like 3 guys just tripping over their own dicks at shortstop, second, and third base all year, right? Right, Bear?
I have this gut feeling it's going to be like it is most seasons, where they are tripping over their own cocks, trying to work out how to field and how to butt.
I really think Zorya Aratov was a tough defection. And obviously, like, he took that money and spent it elsewhere. But I mean, like, Aratov, not having the best year, but he's providing 25 home run power, effectively better than Golding defense. Not good defense, but like okay defense. Like, he's going to be a positive this year. He's going to be an approximately average starter. Is that worth $15 million given the options? I'm not sure, but it just the infield's looking soft. Oh, Paul Golding's making $16 million.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that was the best, most efficient use of money. I'm not going to say things that's going to make people sad. I can see why if you squint hard enough, you're like, yeah, those two should add up to an Aratov, and it just hasn't worked that way. But, you know, they're in a division where they have a good chance. Their pitching it carries them hard enough that they can move forward. Anyways, Halifax.
Oh, boy.
Last year, 77-86, second in the division. This year, 24-27. Approximately the exact same winning percentage. Last year they had a 472. This year so far 471. What do you think? Higher, lower, about where you expected?
I always expect Halifax to be a playoff team regardless.
Well, it's because they've set a high bar historically.
Yeah. I think their team is still like sort of reasonably solid. It's like
I think so too. Jim Corbett looks like a really good corner outfielder. I'm really excited by Jim Corbett. Sergio Gonzalez doesn't field center field amazingly, but he certainly hits. I think part of the reason they may be struggling is that even when adding a guy like Jim Corbett, Sergio Gonzalez has stepped back. He's fallen off like 50 points in OPS plus. So he's approximately 50% less productive than he was last year. And I know last year, MVP caliber season, 8 WAR, 168 OPS plus. It was a kind of an outlier. It was a career best, but now he's kind of gone a little bit the other way, and I'm sure it'll work out in the interim, like somewhere in between, where it's he'll probably end with a 130 and approximately 4 WAR. But him taking a step back has been part of the reason, perhaps, that Halifax hasn't quite reached where they're looking. But like this team, as always, the offense is dangerous. The pitching has struggled a bit. The Bandit appears to have just burgled Halifax's money for the next 3 seasons.
Oh
no, I well, the thing is that he's definitely getting unlucky. Like that 7.8 ERA is unlucky, and it's if you look, it's the guy's allowing almost 13 hits per 9. That's not going to continue. It shouldn't continue, right? Like the guy's not going to have a 4. It can continue, but I mean, like, he hasn't been good. But like, if you look at the split between ERA plus and FIP, like FIP he's like slightly below average, like approximately average, 105. ERA plus is like he's half of average, like he's real bad. So if you look at that, you're like, okay, like if those numbers come a little bit together, you're probably looking at a slightly below average starter or like a number 4 guy. Like that's fine, but like his early struggles are probably a big part of this, right? Like Jason Voigt having a rough one too. We thought he came back a little bit last season, or the season before even. He's had a couple like kind of seasons where he's been effectively, like he's been an effective pitcher, an effective veteran pitcher near the mid back of a rotation. That's fine. He's struggling a bit now too. His BABIP's up at 364. He's allowing 13 hits per 9. The home runs are up too, which is probably why the ERA is inflated. But again, like the underlying is better than what the results have been so far. Do I think Halifax could kind of sneak back into this a bit? I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs, especially if the VL is going to remain fairly competitive. But I mean, this team, they have a powerful lineup still, and if the pitching regresses a bit, like maybe they make it a little more difficult to come out of the Atlantic Division.
I mean, alongside the Atlantic Division being much better than it has been in recent years as well.
Mm-hmm.
Makes it a bit tougher for Halifax to sneak out again.
I would say that Hirota completely falling off at age 33, like dropping off in contact, power, defense. Yeah, he's really dropped off quite a bit in just a year's time here.
Yeah,
I think that's probably a big part of why they have maybe not met expectations. Matsumoto has been good. He's been as advertised. He has been the best starter in this rotation. It's that nobody else is kind of taking a step forward. Kyle Perkins isn't pitching good. Zave isn't pitching good. Voigt isn't pitching good. What can you do? Ho-hum. Brett Gurley moving on. Probably stings. But like I think some of the young players have kind of made up for some of that, which is why they're approximately where they were last year. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's sort of like filling the gaps.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
they build up the prospect pool a bit,
yeah.
Right? Like recover from some years competing. Yeah. Hannibal. I'm just gonna start. They're beating expectations. They're beating expectations. This is not what I thought. They beat me 2 out of 3 last sim as well. Fuck. They have the second best record in the league. Hillbillies, baby. Donovan Selkin is pitching pretty good. They added another a pretty reasonable guy, a pitcher who's had a couple back-to-back relatively strong seasons as an above-average starter in Makara Kelbikov. We liked this guy before, actually. I think we talked about him when he went from the Wuhan Bats as part of that trade for Ikeda, right?
Yep. We were big fans of him then. We're still big fans of him now.
Well, it took him a long-ass time to figure himself out as a starter, but he has been very good the last 2 years in Rain City, and this year he hasn't been. But there's reason to think that maybe he rounds out into form a bit. But unexpected contributions from Jong Chun Kim, who has been like quietly effective, pacing for 16 wins. I know I'm using wins, but like he was claimed off waivers. Dude was claimed off waivers from the
Kyiv.
From Kyiv. Cervantes. He signed Cervantes to a really good. I was actually trying to get Cervantes to be back a rotation starter, and he took Hannibal's offer rather than mine. I was offering him more, but he's been pretty good so far. 6R WAR, like that's a pretty lucky bounce back season. But like Hannibal routinely has really high defensive efficiency and gets a lot of singles. There's a lot of guys with high batting averages on this team, and they're pesky. They are frustrating to have to try to beat. So adding a guy like a Kelbikov to kind of thicken up that rotation a little bit, and adding guys like Tom Means from the system. Tom Means has played great this year. He's pacing for 4.5 WAR. He's I think he's a really strong defender. Yeah, he's got 3.5 zone rating already, and he's getting on base at a really high clip, 363 OBP. Like Tom Means looks like a very strong shortstop that has kind of broken in with his team into this year. That's a big addition. David Diarmond from, I want to say the Zabbies. He's been hitting good so far. He's provided some power, it looks like, off the bench, and sometimes subbing in at first base and whatnot. Like, they get some good contributions from various sources, and
it's a more even contribution rather than some teams that are struggling, which is contributions from 1 or 2 players in the lineup. It
seems like they really value contact skills. Like, it's just something you're seeing across the board here. And it seems to be working out for how they're trying to run their offense.
Yeah, I don't blame. I am a big contact fan.
I'm not, but whatever. It's okay. It's working. They just beat me, right? I think that perhaps running Alberto Garcia legs in center field with 50 range is perhaps tempting fate a little bit. But what can you do?
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yep. Maybe it'll catch up with them, but like right now, they are first in the Central Division. I'd say that's over. Clear over. I think you're about on the same page as me.
Yep.
Clear over. All right. Alphabet.
Man.
Isle of Man.
Go off, King.
Huh. Where are they right now? They're fourth in the European Division. Isle of Man. Bad again? Question mark. I think they got budgets. Like, I think I could be wrong here, but I feel like they got budgeted a bit. No, they're scoring a ton of runs still. They're scoring runs. The issue is the pitchers, specifically the bullpen, has been bad. They have 11th bullpen ERA. Corey Duncan blows. Who knew? Kitchener did. Probably Hannibal. Nikisha. Nikisha has had a rough start to the year, perhaps getting a little bit unlucky. Home run rate more than doubled. Walk rate tripled. Hits per 9 up to 10.3. So, like, yeah, that's a bit of a problem. If you're going to be giving up more home runs and having more guys on base, you are going to get hit hard, and it has been an issue for him so far. K rate's still real high, so like I still think he's a really good pitcher. He should round into form, but that is a big part of why maybe this team is not meeting expectations so far. What do you think? Second half surge?
You'd like to think so, but the issue is if the men get injuries, they probably have the least amount of depth in the league. So if push comes to shove, there might be some struggles from the Isle of Man, but you never know. That all their players might remain healthy and fit for the rest of the year, and a surge of the men into a wild card may be threatening the top place of the division as possible.
I mean, they finally were proven right with Bolts, Mario Coronado, due to having an absolute MVP tier season.
Bolts. Yep. Oh yeah, this is the guy I think should be playing third base instead of shortstop.
Well, look at his defense. It seems like he's coming to his own here. He's playing okay defensively.
I guess his own rating's not in the negative, so that's better than most shortstops in the league already. Low bar, but
Yeah, well, like there's not a lot of good batters at shortstop, so if he can be approximately average defensively and still hit, then he's going to be immediately one of the best. I think this Yoon, his catcher, has performed really good so far. He's hitting the ball. They're hitting the ball. The Isle of Man men are hitting the ball. They take a walk. They have a little bit of power. Like they're good.
They do have.
When I say a little bit of power, like it's a little bit of power, but
they do have the best on base percentage in the Virgin League.
Yeah, they're quite good. It's the average. The average starting right now is kind of hurting them a little bit. Old friend of the show, Ethan Skinner's there at age 36. Bless him.
Somehow putting himself into a starting rotation slot.
I'm proud of him.
No comment. Less said, better.
Yeah, less said, better. But indeed, Isle of Man, I think they are probably below where we expected them to be right now. At least for me, I think they're below where I expected. I know they lost some guys as Monte and Azarte and stuff. I'm just surprised that the pitching has been so bad and the offense has been so good. I think when the bullpen rounds into form, they should probably rise up the standings a little bit. I don't know if they're going to get higher than third in this division this year if they're having a struggle to start. But I think they're probably well below where we expected. Like they're 100 points below where their winning percentage was last year. So there's something to be said for that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the men should be doing much better than they are at the moment. But what can you do?
Got to wait for that luck to turn around. Speaking of luck and unluck, Kirkland Signatures. Last year, 99-63, 611 win percentage. This year, they got a 588, 30-21 through 50 games. Above, below, They're tied for first in the Pacific Division. What do we think? They're about.
Yeah.
I think they're probably about where I expected. First, second.
Yeah, Kirkland, you tend to expect them to be top, especially with the current roster.
Yep. They've done it a little differently this year. The offense has not been perhaps as consistent as it has been previously, but the starting pitching. Who needs a bullpen, really? Who needs a bullpen? The starting pitching has been very strong, led by Doberman, Ricardo Flores. He's having another really strong year. He's pacing for 8 RWAR. Craponi is having another strong year. Like there's a bunch of guys here. Luis Martez hasn't had a good year, but there's ceiling there, you know. Mario Flores is a control guy, kind of rubber arm back of the rotation guy. I don't know. They're getting some unexpectedly good contributions out of some of these guys, but it is pretty typical that Kirkland fields a relatively strong team with few flaws. I think it hurt them a little bit, truthfully, going from Seong-Hyun Kim to Gordon Warwick. Gordo's been not terrible so far. He's pacing for 35 home runs and pretty solid defense.
Yeah.
So there's something to be said there. Like, okay, Leon Breen is having a bit of a breakthrough this year. Like, don't look now. But he's looking
pretty good.
Good.
Chad Englishman.
What's Manx?
Isle of Man.
Oh, of course. It just throws me off with the
Manx.
Manx. Fair enough. Danny Ramirez starting off strong too. But yeah, Kirkland approximately where we expected. I thought maybe they'd be first or second in this division, and they are tied for first.
I had them down as first, so I'm feeling good about myself, you know.
Yep. They've definitely been coming up in the right direction. I will note that their catcher, Murakami, has gone from being like kind of the default silver slugger every year to he has fallen off quite a bit. I believe defensively, too. If you look there, like he's fallen down already to about a 2-star if you prescribe to that. But I mean, defensively, he's gone from a 55 defender to a 35 defender in about a year.
Yeah, it's not the greatest fall from grace.
Not a great sign. And he's signed for 3 more years at $27 million. So that's a tough look. I'm sure the bat will come around a little bit. Like it's fallen off a bit, but like it's not bad or worse than your average catcher, which is kind of an indictment of the catchers out there, but also true.
Yeah.
I think he's getting some good production out of Shu though, Ang-hee Shu in center field. Like really, really good, effective defensive player, and he's getting some okay offense out of that as well. So, something to be said. Kirkland's all right. They find a way to make it work every year. I'm sure they're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. And Powder's on rehab, like the good kind of rehab. Like he's working through an injury.
Oh yep. The old Cho.
Yup. All right, Kitchener. Last year. 69, nice, and 93, 425 winning percentage. This year, 21-31, 404. What do you think? Over, under?
About right.
You think that's about right, eh?
I mean,
okay. Here's the Kitchener theorem. They added 12. They added 12 WAR in the offseason. Like Wilbert Hoover was a 4 WAR pitcher last year. Toshiharu Kato sucks, but he was pretty damn good last year in, I want to say, Springfield, and he was pretty good the year before with Isle of Man, and he's doing okay this year. So, I mean, yeah.
The thing is, though, it's basically a retirement home at this point.
No, it's not. Come on. Jude Morrison, The Wall, he's 26.
Kato's 35. Kuruso is 34.
Kurusu's raking though, dude. 179 OPS plus. But I mean, like Jude Morrison's 26. Nikolai Volnyov, 23. Michael Hollett's 26. Jake Pigeon is 26. Like he's bringing some guys in. Like Jose Vega is 24, Finley Moran's 27. Like this isn't a super old rotation. The oldest guy in the rotation is Wilbert Hoover, and he was 33 with like 20 years in the league. 14 years in the league.
But I feel like it's more of a transition year rather than like a year where they're trying to make playoffs, you know?
I mean, even if each of those players they acquired were exactly as good as they were last year and 12 WAR was added, you're looking at 81 wins. So, like, kind of the best case for a lot of these guys.
That's the thing you have to consider. You have to average it out. So what? 75 wins maybe?
Yeah, that sounds about right. But like, there's also potential here, right? Like, some of these guys could just be good. You know, like, I don't know. Are you willing to say that Finley Moran's just not good? Because he was, you know, maybe he could be. Jose Vega could be real good.
Could be, but you know. I'd like the Bears could be good, but you know that doesn't happen.
Yep. I think Kitchener's going to continue to score runs. I think they're going to continue to struggle to prevent runs. I think they tend to make a lot of errors. They've got some guys that are good defenders. Francisco Villamil should be pretty good. He's having another really strong glove season. But yeah, Cato's here to be a glove. He's doing all right defensively. I think it's probably this Volnyov guy. Volnyov has not hit yet, and that's got to be concerning. He had 200 plate appearances last year and was a very ineffective hitter. This year he's gotten better by a little bit. He's still well below an average hitter. So, like, I think Zabby was expecting Volnyov to carry a little bit harder. I think I was too, truthfully. And Tobias Reese, he got from Shanghai, doing really good. That was a good signing. Yanagi has been hitting the casing off the ball. So, like, some of those signings have kind of worked out, but the pitching ones haven't quite. And it's obviously cost him a bit there.
Yeah, the pitching side of things need to improve slightly, especially when only one of your starting rotation pitchers is below 5 ERA.
I think Hoover is really struggling. He's struggling in that he's giving up more walks, more hits. He's I don't really feels like some of that's unlucky. Like his FIP is still good. You know, like it feels like it's unlucky.
He pitched 2/3 of an innings against the Bears.
Got chased, eh?
He got chased out.
Yeah. I think maybe his control got a little worse or something, or maybe he's always been like this, but...
it looks like he's always been like this.
All right. He just seems like he's walking too many guys. Anyways. Ho-hum, what can you do? Somebody's got to finish fourth. Next up, Kyiv. The Cavalas. Last year, they were 108-54, a .666 percentage. I just did like a cross thing. I hope you did as well. Good luck. I've seen The Exorcist recently. You don't want that to happen. 560 win percentage right now, 28-22. Having some trouble with the injury bug. Rodrigue Mera is out now, 3 months. I believe he lost somebody else long term. Yoshimura has been injured as well. What do you think?
It's about right, isn't it? I think they could be doing slightly better, but the batting is not as good as it has been in the past few years.
I think Pete Stevens falling off has hurt him quite a bit. Like, he was a good, solid top to mid rotation starter for the last approximately 3 seasons, 2 out of 3 seasons. Him being completely ineffective has really hurt. He signed Dave Ezel in free agency as well, and that hasn't worked out. Dude won a ring with the Gar last year, but it just hasn't worked out, and he's into the bullpen already. Jose Flores got yoinked out of the rotation. I think that last injury brought him down quite a bit, so he went from a Holland winner to a guy that looks like a swingman. I think he's probably still a rotation starter.
You could probably play in backup rotation.
Yeah, he shouldn't be this bad, but like he hasn't been good, and it looks like A-Rock's kind of pulled the pin on that one a bit. Maverick having a bounce back year, so fuck me, I guess. I think they're a little below where I expected. I think I expected them to run this division. Maybe I was holding them up too much, but I just mean like I feel like overall this team has probably been on average the strongest in this division. It feels like they may not have. This was a really strong core, and I don't know if this is it for them. Like, do you think maybe they're done? Like, are they moving on to retool already?
I think they got this season, maybe next season, and then they need to do some workings out, which you happily do. Hey, Rocky.
Daniel Watson having a year for them. Like he's hitting good still. Sean Atteridge still hitting good. Dye is the catcher, still doing very well. He's very much defensively orientated. So like there's still guys here. Blaze, what happened to Blaze Rolfs? Has he always been bad offensively?
Yes.
Just
he used to look much better when he was a kid, but now he's but yeah.
Wow, that's a look. But yeah, I think Kyiv is probably underperforming a bit. They are doing really well on the runs prevention side. Like, it's not me kind of talking about some of the injury bug things that have cropped up on Mera or on Flores, or talking about the disappointments in that aspect. Probably undersells that they've had a really strong year for run prevention. That comes from running guys like Blaze Rolfs and Gustav Nikolaisen in the starting lineup every day, where they're plus defenders at key positions. They've emphasized defense and how they approach the game, and it's helping an above-average pitching staff still hold over the fort. What they do need is they need more offense. They need somebody to play better in right field, second base.
They just need one person probably just to...
Like somebody to figure it out. Maybe shortstop, or I guess you're running defensive guys there on purpose. Third base is looking rough.
First base, I reckon, is probably the best hole to fill.
Yeah. So Kyiv definitely underperforming. Do we think that there's a reasonable, like a reason that they would jump back into it? Because they're only a couple games back on first place.
Yeah, which is Zork. I think there's the potential, but it just relies on like one or two batters to like turn up.
Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't think they were going to miss Ethan Joaquin. Jacquin. Oliver has a very good point. The origin of him, it would be Jacquin rather than Joaquin. Borja Yafrikov, I didn't think they'd miss those players, but it turns out they have offensively anyways.
I mean, they're well known for the supreme hitting prowess, especially Yafrikov.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So we'll see if he's able to add something. I know that he's currently in some significant trade talks. Word gets around. If he pulls that off, then that could be a big coup, but it would also take a pretty big bite out of his future, I'd think. Unless, like, I'm getting the Maple Leaf treatment where I'm getting quoted a price 40% higher.
Oh no, it's happening again.
It's happening again. The trauma. Moving along, Los Angeles last year 88-74, 543 win percentage. This year 22-29 so far with a 431. Above, below, about on par. What are you thinking?
Below.
Yeah, I thought they'd be better than this.
I think they should be much better than this, but it's not looking pretty.
I mean, Mitch Harris being hurt is unfortunate, as he's a big part of this team's run prevention strategy. Like, he was very effective last year for them, again, prior to getting hurt. But former Cody Holland Award winner, out 5 weeks. He's also had Fernando Gonzalez out with a sprained knee for a bit there as well, and he's been a very effective player in Los Angeles historically. I think it's just a thing where this team's upside has been neutered a little bit by their reliance on injury-prone players. Believe me, I know that they don't start that way. Something happens, guy's hurt, gets hurt again, falls off a bit more, gets hurt again, gets more fragile, so on and so forth. But like you're looking at it, Frank Bello, their shortstop, fragile. Willie Gonzalez, their second baseman, he's fragile. Danny Badillo, their DH, fragile. Jim Holland, the right fielder, wrecked. Christian Casanova's normal, but like Jun Shang, the shortstop, fragile. Fernando Gonzalez, the third baseman, fragile. Like, yeah. I don't know what you do about that besides like swapping out the core and trying again, right? Like, I don't know what you do once the injury cycle has started. I'll let you know when I figure it out. But I just mean this is unfortunate because LA was a big team on the upswing, big, exciting, like young team. And now what? They're a bit stuck, aren't they? I think there's still a lot of upside here, especially in the rotation. But you're running a wrecked and two fragiles and you're starting five. That's a recipe for heartbreak. Take it from the Gar.
Yeah.
Even Iron Mans get hurt, though, right? Like
even Iron Mans get hurt.
Even Iron Mans get hurt.
Never forget. Never forget.
Never forget, indeed. Don Snook has not had a good start to his Blazers career. That probably hurts quite a bit spending that money, but like 36 years old, anything can happen. Luckily, not overcommitted, so if he bounces back, then he'll have a weapon in the bullpen, and if he doesn't, then the ugliest man in the RFBL is free to cut loose.
At least he's got $10 million a year.
The exchange rate killer there, I guess, eh? Where's Bill Johnston?
Return economy issues, yes.
Yeah, where's Bill Johnston? I thought he was on this team. Oh, he's designated for assignment.
Oh no!
I think he got waived already. Yeah, yep. He has had a nightmare start to the season.
That's why I released him at the end of last year. Let's go.
That's a former All-Star, former Gold Glover, former Napolio winner, and he's already gone. He's one of the guys that was signed in the offseason. But yeah, honestly, this team has been... They've had some injuries already. It's very clear. They should be better than this, but... What are you going to do? Their pitching could still carry. Like, don't count them out entirely. It's going to be... The hitting's underperforming, and the pitching has been really good. So if the hitting figures it out, this team should not be a .431 win percentage. We'll see. Like, they're not that far removed from going on their own miracle run in the playoffs, right? Anyways, next up, Minneapolis, the Monkeys. Last year, they were 73-89 for a .450 win percentage. This year, they are 27-23 for a .540 win percentage. Good for third in the Central. Holy stacked. What do you think? Monkeys above, below, about on par?
I think it's about on par.
Really?
Well, considering the other teams in the league, I would have put them second or third.
I mean, they're pacing for like an 88 win season. Do you think this is an 88 win team?
I think it has the potential considering the old division. Though I don't think the better teams have yet played the Monkeys. Or at least from the Virgin side.
Strength of schedule argument, I see.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But they also played the Gar and beat the Gar 2-1, so, and swept Kyiv. So looking good, you know.
Oh yeah. Yes, I recall that. The Gar closer gave up 8 runs in 2 games versus the Monkeys. 2 bullpen cuckeries. Yep.
There you go.
Classic. I don't think this is an 88 win team, man. I think this is they're very much overperforming. If they're on like a 85, 88 win pace, like, you have to ask yourself why. Who did they acquire? Who is coming in? Who is providing the value that's driving this? Obviously, Brian Manton coming in. He was good last year. He's good again this year. Like that's a good player.
And he would only get better as well.
Yeah, but like Ortega's having a great year. He had a bad year last year, but like I guess I'm just looking at this and it's like offensively, I don't really know who's driving this bus, man.
I think it's more the other teams around them regressing than Monkeys progressing.
They've had a really effective bullpen so far. Like again, I don't think it's this good, but it's pitching great. It's the reverse of the Gar thing. They're doing really good, and their starting rotation has been reasonable as well. Like there's a couple weak spots, obviously, and that's where they're kind of bringing in some kids. Like, they just have Ueda as the only old guy on the staff, and he's having a great year. He's pacing for 5.5 RWAR. I don't think I thought that was going to be likely, but he's having another great season. So there is something to be said there. Son Yun Son having another really good season. Zheng Cheng Lai, we got in a trade with Beijing. He's having a great season. So like there's some players here. There's some good reasons for some optimism, but like I don't think when it's all said and done that if they stick through it the whole year and compete for a wild card spot, it's going to be another Maybe there's even an argument that they've been unlucky for the run differential. I don't know. I just don't see where the runs are being scored.
I mean, if you have a bullpen like that, all you have to do is score a couple of runs and you just keep it tight.
Yeah, I guess I look at that bullpen and like their closer's not like Alex Bustos isn't driving results. So it's like some of the other guys like Tae-Soo Kim. Like a guy who hasn't historically been good is pitching really good. You know, so there's something to be said for some of these guys that had bad years last year and suddenly are unhittable.
It's the power of the Monkeys. I mean, I see Yeti's trying to bring out the five man lefty rotation again. He's slowly working the way back.
Yeah, like I guess maybe Pablo Munoz will do it. I think there's reason to believe that they may not be as effective, but who knows? Like, as somebody that made it last year through a completely unlikely series of one-run wins for an entire season, I don't know. Maybe the Monkeys bullpen. Maybe it's all you need is a bullpen that somehow is just really strong.
All that matters is you get the W on the board.
Yeah, well, you think they're about as expected. I think they're overperforming. Time will tell. Let's move along. If we don't keep going, then I'm going to go down the garden path. I will go on a meander, start talking about things. That's what happens when you get older. Montreal Expos last year, 67.95, 413 win percentage. This year, 23.29, a 442 win percentage. Speaking with the general manager, he's saying it's probably in for a long rebuild. Pitchers look good, though. The pitchers are pitching.
Pitchers are pitching. Batting, not batting.
Rascal's looking like a keeper. He's fragile. He's probably going to die any day now, but he looks like a keeper. That's a clutch scouting discovery, I'm just saying. Swami as well. Swami, again, another fragile arm. Still looks very nice. These guys are 22 and 23, so right up until their arms just fall off inexplicably.
And they're both lefties as well, which is like...
Yeah. The offense blows here, though. It's really rough.
Don't Google the batting.
It's 12th in every offensive category. But David Sandoval is coming together. He's looking like a real catcher. He's looking like a real boy this year. That's good.
It's a damning indictment when your second best hitter is your catcher.
Well, I don't think he's second best. Jesus Garcia is having a strong year in right field. Like, relatively. Not as good as last year, but he's pacing for 30 dingers. Like, that's a thing. Kevin Jeffries has bounced back a bit. Almost up to like where his career average was before the great fall off. But Benito Canes has taken a step back. I think Antonio Romero, former top 10 pick, I think that's going to be a nice second baseman for them. He's started off all right. Looks like at least an average starter. but they're really struggling to score runs. The bullpen here is generally very strong. Not quite performing that way so far, but like we'll see. Because like if the offense rounds out a little bit, you get a couple more. Like maybe Pineda actually hits the ball. Huh? Maybe Pineda hits a ball.
No, don't talk about being able to hit the ball.
If Pineda starts hitting balls, then like suddenly they got another hitter, right? Like if Canis gets back to even just average production, like he has the last few years as a 100 OPS plus guy, like maybe they score enough runs with this very strong starting rotation and generally very strong bullpen year to year can help them move up the standings. I still think they're approximately where we expected. We expected them to have offensive struggles, have a good bullpen and pitching. Okay.
I expected them to choke.
You got to be like winning something to choke. I just mean,
yeah, that's true. But you know, it's.
I caught shit for saying that they couldn't have back-to-back good seasons, and I just mean it's the history of the franchise. It's in like the Gar bullpen thing. It's just a thing. Sorry.
It's a given at this point.
Moving along, Motor City Machine Guns last year 82 and 80 with 506 win percentage. This year a shocking 519 win percentage, 27-25. They added what? Did they add anything? They watched Jun Yang walk away and a couple pitchers in the offseason.
They
What's going on here? They're hitting. They can hit? What?
Wait, what?
They can hit now.
No, this is not the Motor City that I know.
They can hit. And they have the best catcher in the CL right now. That'd be Santa Marta, the Eager Beaver. He's going to make the All-Star team again. They're going to have gotten a 3-time All-Star for Steve Beasley. Oh, shit. Jonathan Rios is hitting good, too. He's playing in left field because the real star of the show, and the big reason why Motor City is for real, Ian Weiser has broken through. He went from R-ball last year to major leagues this year. The first overall pick from 2048 is already playing in the bigs. And the thing was, he looked good last year. Like, it wasn't like this guy came from nowhere.
Does that remind you of a certain GM?
Well, he was a college player, right? He's 22 now. So it's like, is he, like...
If he's ready, he's ready.
Well, he certainly looks ready. He's pacing for 5 WAR this year with like 20 home runs, 100 ribbies. He's stealing some bases. He's not efficient in his base stealing, but he's hitting the ball, and he appears to be playing pretty cromulent defense in center field. That's been a weapon. He's had him up near the top of the order. It's stretched everything out a little bit more. Tsuchimura is playing good in right field. Danny Morrissey as a DH still has an effective outfielder. He's playing good. I think he's playing DH to preserve his fragile body, but like he's hitting the ball again. He's on pace for 40 home runs. Tom Caulfield having a big one. He's at 50. He's pacing for 50 home runs. He's hit 16 so far in just 200 plate appearances.
Yeah,
I mean, Tom Caulfield figuring out the power angle. That's big.
Ian Weiser is a new Steve Beasley of Motor City.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how
pretty much,
do it, but they do.
He can't keep getting away with this. But yeah, Ian Weiser probably made that trade feel a little less shitty. Like, I just mean moving a franchise icon at a premium position. This guy just he's hitting the ground running. He's gonna be good. He's gonna be good for a long time.
He's gonna have a career.
And I just mean, shortstop, obviously a weak spot for them. Like, Torsten Williamson hasn't played well there. Timo Boom is a weird player, frankly. He's a weird player, I think, Timo Boom. A very unusual player. He's found a way to be, most of the time, a net positive. But, I don't think he's necessarily the answer at shortstop either. So they're hurting for a middle infielder. But the outfield is looking strong, and the corners are not terrible. I guess Franklin Fernandez isn't amazing, but he's off to a hot start. He's getting on base an awful lot as a leadoff hitter, and that's all you really need. He's got a 406 OBP.
That's what you want.
Get on base. get driven in by Weiser, Morrissey, Caulfield. It's working. It is working. They're second in runs scored. Do I think they're going to keep that up? I do not. But I don't think that they're going to fall off entirely. I think with the struggle Chicago's having with its hitting, Motor City can play spoiler. Motor City can get in their gear. Like, they're going to be flying in an ointment. They pitch good enough. It's not super strong, but like Gear still is having another really good year. Some of these guys can pitch, and it's going to be interesting to see if they can hang with the pitching, because I think their hitting is surprisingly for real. I don't see a lot of super weak spots. Like if Ryabenko is your worst performing hitter, that's interesting. That's interesting to me. If they figure out shortstop, this team could genuinely compete for. I think they're surprising, but I think retroactively we might have underrated them coming in, you know?
Yeah.
Anyways, let's move on. New Forest. The elite of the elite. 72-90 with a 444 win percentage last season. Where are they today? 500. Even Stevens, baby.
Oh, I had to.
They lost Case Filla.
Yep, we don't talk about that.
Rip. I will say, like, he's one of those guys like that I like that could win any night. But overall, he doesn't pitch that good. Like, I don't take that as an insult. That's a lot of guys I employ are like this. But I'm just looking at he's like a 2-WAR pitcher for his career so far. Kind of like the best he's been.
Yeah, it's not great, is it?
Not great results and not great getting injured, but like he also pitched a no-no, didn't he? Like,
yep, he pitched a no-no.
So that's what I'm talking about. Any given night, he could pitch a no-no, or he could give up 11 hits in 3 1/3 innings.
Literally a dice roll starter. You never know what you're gonna get.
I think he comes out overall on the positive side of the ledger, but yeah. Anyways, what's going on with New Forest? Why are you not terrible? Why are you not amazing?
We sort of know how to hit. We sort of know how to pitch.
Okay, 5th in runs scored, 7th in runs against so far.
There you go. We're just a bang average team. What can you do?
Juan Flores, not quite as good as he was last year, but not bad.
No. So Jesus Arias is stepped up.
Oh yeah, he's pitching good. And Ji Pyong that you got is part of the trade with Kirkland last year. He's pitching real good in the pen.
Yeah.
He looks like a real nice piece. Late inning, he's captain as well. That's not looking terrible. So there you go. You got some quality late inning relievers that are being their numbers probably looking worse because of all the bad relievers that bad performances behind them in middle relief and long relief.
High leverage,
and
very good. Low
high leverage, good.
Low leverage,
bad. That's a Gar joke from last year, man. Is that they would blow saves that were not safe situations. Oh, we're up by 8 in the 7th.
Yeah, no.
It's Gar time.
It's time, boys.
It's time. The most dangerous lead in baseball. 8 runs.
8 runs.
The starting pitching is actually pretty good. Like,
I mean, it's something I have spent many years focusing on.
It's on an ensemble. It's an ensemble. I just mean like everybody's approximately like 1.5 to 3 WAR. That's good enough if you have offense. So like if the Bears are for real, if the Bears are here to hit, Norm Rowe hitting the ball, Alex Rodriguez, Sluggo, if he's hitting the ball, these guys are hitting, then New Forest may have good enough pitching to hang. I think they are overperforming a little bit compared to last season, but you added Sluggo at a reasonable cost. So you added a bat and a pretty good defender. I think he's wrecked. So the thing is that like he could explode anytime physically.
I'm at the moment. Every sim I'm watching Sluggo and Kang being day to day. I'm fearing the worst when I see the message going. Let me find it.
I just want this Jordan
May
Portrait guy.
18th, New Forest Bears left fielder Dong Wook Kang was injured while running the bases. Thursday, May 20th, 2049, New Forest Bears right fielder Alex Rodriguez was injured while throwing the ball. And then I shit myself for a period of 5 minutes, hoping the response is not torn UCL or torn flexor elbow, and he's out for 9 months.
Yep. I'm just looking at your lineup. Quite a few guys that aren't particularly good.
It's because we're all defense now, boy.
All defense. Honestly, though, like Antonio Lopez he's wrecked.
Yep.
Shit.
I need to work on getting a new shortstop eventually.
Well, we'll have to see though, right? Like we'll have to see where these guys go, but there's definitely a few spots for improvement. It 1 through 4, the hitting looks actually pretty good, and like as a second baseman, John Villanueva, he's a pretty good hitter for a second baseman, even if he sucks defensively. And like if Antonio Lopez is going to be a glove cock with a 99 OPS plus, like that's not bad. That's not a complete negative. I'm just looking like Carlos Campos hasn't been able to play particularly good offensively, and Edwin Miranda, and you kind of expect more out of Han Crabman. For such an elite nickname, he's kind of a sad player.
Yeah, he's a pretty basic bitch, not gonna lie.
He could be better though. Like that's the thing. If that home run power comes up, like a 60 contact, 50 home run, like average-ish power, and then like better than that at avoiding Ks and making contact with the ball, like he could be good. It's just waiting for him to hit that, you know. Yeah, I think New Forest probably doesn't make the playoffs, but they don't embarrass themselves.
Which is quite different to normal.
Yeah, just one piece away though. Have you considered that?
One piece away, or five starter rotation injuries away.
All right, let's move along. The Growlers, 54-108 for a 333 win percentage last year. Wow. What are the odds? 17-34 with a 333 win percentage so far this season. I think they are probably the worst team.
They are the worst team in the...
They are the worst team. I just mean like I'm looking at the runs scored, they're 12th. Runs against, their 12th. They don't prevent runs. They don't score runs. It's a mess. It's a mess. Jung-Hoon Kim is awesome, though. Like, I mean, like this guy is a franchise icon for the Growlers. Like, this is an expansion team, and it's been a bad expansion team for a lot of years. But if you look, Jung-Hoon Kim has had 20 WAR in like 6 seasons with the Growlers. He's 36, and he's still hitting great. He's got a 150 OPS plus so far. Man is pacing for 40 dingers at age 36. Like, if nothing else is amazing with Newfoundland this year, if Jung-Hoon Kim continues to hit, and I'm biased clearly, I like the player when he played for me. I'm super stoked that he's been a franchise icon for Newfoundland. The guys I got from that died to the injuries. So, like, all I have left is the enjoyment that Jung-Hoon Kim is really good. Villeneuve. Oh, sorry, I had to look. I was like, oh, no, not Latin, French. Villeneuve. He's been really good. He's hitting. Finally, he's hitting. Like, really hitting. Because he's always hit, kind of. Like, he's always been like, oh, he's a little bit above average. Good. Now in year 4, now that he can make some arbitration money, baby.
It's finally time.
Philippe Villeneuve. He is hitting.
It's a true Frenchman. Only wants to work when he wants to.
Ouch, man. But I'm just looking at this team. Eric Bleeker's having a strong year, so good. There's some reason to go to the ballpark in Newfoundland. Dave Bent's really good. I think Dave Bent's good. He's struggling a little bit in some regards this season, but like still getting results. The pitching, it's Dave Bent and 4 guys that probably shouldn't be in the league. Arturo Perez looks like he should be better than this, right? Like,
yeah, Arturo Perez, Timo Moses.
He doesn't look like a 9 ERA kind of guy, you know?
like Timo Moses and Arturo Perez should look much better than they are.
They should be cromulent 4 or 5 kind of guys. Like, they should be fine. Like, those guys shouldn't hurt you as a number 3 on a rebuilding team, but they are just getting lit up. I don't know if that's because they're bad defensively or if it's the park. Like, the park is drastic. The park, they hit a lot of home runs in Newfoundland. They have a high average in Newfoundland. The only thing they don't do is triples and doubles. I think it's because the fences are so far in. Like, will it dong? Definitely in Newfoundland.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
They're 12th in every offensive category except for home runs and stolen bases. So,
Right.
like,
I can tell you who's 12th in home runs, though.
is
And-
it the
and then-
Bears?
Of course it is. And there's good reasons for that compared to most teams. Stupid stadium.
Yeah, but Bear, why are the Bears so slow? 12th in steals. You're slipping, my friend.
Times are hard.
I will say to Newfoundland, like, Jose Aguion, signing Jose Aguion, the Castlegar River Kings legend, who was -4 like every year in Castlegar. That was an interesting choice. When you have a bullpen, you're like, you know what? I think I need some Castlegar guys in here.
Yeah.
That's bold.
I mean, it's perfect for the perfect as a tank commander, though.
Well, I mean, like, I think when I say that, I mean, like, there's always, like, Castlegar always has a couple guys that are still good relievers. But, I mean, like, if you're, like, the guy Castlegar hates in his bullpen, that's who I need to add.
I'll do it in spite, just so he earns a bit more money.
Zabby did it, and he was good. He I will say, to Newfoundland's credit, he was actually quite good for Kitchener last year. I don't know why. I don't know how he was so good. I think it's because he didn't give up any home runs inexplicably and had a super good BABIP, and it didn't come up that he couldn't strike anybody out anymore. So there you go. Let's move along. I think Newfoundland. I think I kind of expect them to be better. Not much better. Like, I still don't think they're good, but like they're building. They're drafting and stuff. They had a really good draft. Like, there's reasons to like this franchise. They have cool branding. And there's some players on the team that are fun. Villeneuve, Kim, Eric Bleeker's fun, Dave Bent's fun, Ricky Castilla's still a good reliever. Cool. It's the end of the list. The future should be good, right?
The future should be good, but we've seen from the past it doesn't always end well.
We'll see. We're taking a wait and see, but like 4th in the Atlantic, probably where we expected them. I didn't think they were going to finish above Halifax. Sunnyvale's further along in the rebuild, clearly. Cape Breton's.
Woodcocks are Woodcocks. We love the Woodcocks. We have high hopes.
I do love the Woodcocks. Moving along, Pete King, 94-68 with a 580 win percentage last season. 29-23 with a 558 this year. A little bit off the pace. The run differential hasn't been very good. They've been very lucky by Pythagoras so far, beating up on left-handers, going against Meta. They did add a good third baseman. They brought back Ethan Jacquin,
Oh yeah.
franchise legend. They said goodbye to old friend Anders Henrik, who's played for both you and I. They let Paul Colden go, which looks like a very smart move. Salvo Massey has gone away as well. But adding that big third baseman from Kirkland was kind of the big one, right? That was the big offseason move.
Yep.
Massey's played bad. Massey has played bad for the Rain City team so far. But what are we looking at here? Peaking unusually struggling to put up runs. Ingo Toit having a rather pedestrian year, about 100 OPS plus.
Poor.
Beginning and the end. He is hitting home runs still. It's just the other stuff has kind of fallen off. His on base is way low. It's down 70, more than 70 points.
The last 10 seasons have been Cinderella season. This is finally the time.
Yeah, it's true. That's how that works, right?
Yep.
Is Cinderella. Ah, see, I was right. It was a Cinderella season.
I'm
like his catcher a bit.
looking at the last 11 years. He played a peak in Cinderella.
He did it. He acquired Nobuo Watanabe from Halifax, who has been at least good defensively. Had a little bit of pop. We'll see if he can do something for Peking at age 36. I do like that they've got like the top of their lineup still looks really good. The first 5 hitters like really, really solid. So you look at it and you're like, okay, Zili Wong, who won the MVP last year. Bird, Pivnik, doing even better than last year, pacing for about 6.5 WAR. Bobby Bonilla, having a bit of a down season, still a very, very effective hitter. Toet, struggling, still a good power bat. Kim, dude's so consistent. Like, I can't even, I don't get it. This is like the classic accumulator. His entire career has been 101 OPS plus. It's like he just couldn't hit in Beijing for the longest time, even though those are adjusted numbers. Those are adjusted numbers. OPS plus is an adjusted number. I don't know why. He just couldn't hit in Cape Breton, couldn't hit in Beijing, couldn't hit in Washington, didn't hit in LA until he did, right before and then he hit free agency, and then in Kirkland, he's just been money in the bank.
He turns 30 and he suddenly discovers that he can hit the ball.
Donaldson, baby. Not quite, because Donaldson was like an MVP. This guy's just like an everyday, like, he's a very strong above average starter. Like, he's really strong. He's a good 4 WAR guy, 4 or 5. Like, he's just been this way for a while. He's going to fall off at some point. He signed for 3 years of guaranteed money. Oh, maybe 4, because he's going to get a player option. But, like, we'll see. We'll see when he falls off. It doesn't look like it's happening this year. Jacquin. How's he playing? Ooh, bad. Real bad.
Oh, no.
Real good with the glove, real bad with the lumber. And it looks like he's trying to trade David Flores right now as well.
Yeah.
Who's making money for the next 600 years. 5 years. 5 years.
5 years for a player opt-out or team option.
Yep. Well, that's a thing. Cool.
But
sometimes you sign those contracts and they don't work out. Like a fragile player especially could kind of fall off and it may not work out entirely as you hoped. I think Peking is about where we expected. I think that getting that Kim contract's it's going to age like milk, but the player right now is one of the very best third base in the league.
I mean, I think Oliver knows that his time is up eventually.
The end is nigh.
Yeah.
I think we're remiss if we haven't mentioned the ultimate problem here.
Yep.
Mr. Clean.
Mr. Clean.
Mr. Clean. From winning the Holland last season to being completely washed up. Like, it started last July and it just continued. He was throwing 101 in July 2048. We're in May 2049 and he's thrown 92. Dude has almost lost 10 miles per hour. The tertiary pitch, gone. The movement, down. The control, down. Like, he's just he's lost 50 stuff in less than a year. Still super popular and super well paid. 4 more years after this one at 27. He's just done at age 31. Holy shit. If you want to know what happened to the Peking dynasty, Mr. Clean, magic erase.
Mr. Clean.
Just magic erase that right the fuck out of existence.
It was a good time. I mean, I think it was known that there wasn't much time left in the Peking bank, so yeah.
I will note they have really strong late inning relievers. Like Park is extremely effective. Lee, extremely effective. Like they definitely have some very, very high end late inning guys. Jesse Corbin, also good. Yeah. Lest I forget somebody. But Peking's probably about expectation. I think they're probably first in this division just on,
everybody
the division.
Else not being as good.
I just thought that Beijing was going to challenge this year. And Shanghai's doing stuff. They're doing stuff. So, watch out. This division is going to become a new battleground pretty soon, I think. Leading into that, another team from the division, Pyongyang People's Republic of Korea, last year, 89-73, made the playoffs with a 549 win percentage. This season, down to a 365 win percentage, 1933. One of the worst records in baseball. What do we think?
I mean, they're not able to ride the luck like they did last year, which put them into the old playoffs.
Hold on a second, because I would note that last season, part of what drove them there was an above-average starting rotation led by Carl Jolly and Hidehiro Matsumoto.
Yep.
Problem. Both of those guys are gone. They got traded. Thaner traded them. I'd be lying if I said I didn't really like the pieces he got out of Castlegar. As Castlegar, I tried to not trade those pieces. I really like Jung-Hoon Shin. I think he's got a good future ahead of him. Justin Brophy was instrumental in the GAR winning the championship last year. He pitched like 15 scoreless innings in relief as a high-leverage, frequent reliever. So, I really think Justin Brophy is another really good piece there. And a couple potential shortstops in Jorge Chapa and your friend and mine. Shit, I'm trying to think of that shortstop. It was a pretty high-end one. Sindra Mahler.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But, so he moved that. He got some good pieces out of Halifax, too, for Matsumoto. So, here's the thing. On the scale of over, under, about what I expected, I don't think this is a huge disappointment. I think last year they exceeded expectations. I think this year they're falling short of them a bit, but I think that's where I think we expect them to take a step back. They moved Elliot Traynor as well, who had a 4-WAR season, traded him to Shanghai, got something for him. They lost 15.9 WAR, the most in the league. They tried to make up for that. Justin Brophy was good in his rookie season for the GAR. They signed Mark Henriksen, who franchise is doing quite solid start to the year. Boris Yafrikov is back. He was a part of this franchise for a long time. He's still hitting the ball real hard. I just think that there are some things that went their way last year that, when coupled with regression to the mean and trading out a bunch of talent for futures, look at their prospect pool. This is a scary franchise, but you can see why they take a step back.
Yeah.
Jeff Mark's their catcher, goddammit.
His contract's ending soon, isn't it?
Oh, it already ended. He was signed as a free agent.
Oh. God bless the Jeff Mark.
$1.9 million.
I just think Jeff Mark and I think of that atrocious contract.
Jeff Mark's a champion, sir.
Well, I'm stealing money, yeah.
Oh, man. For what it's worth, he's a 4-time All-Star, and at $1.9 million, he's actually...
It's pretty good.
Yep. Anyways, I think Pyongyang is about where we expect. Probably a little bit worse in wins, but you kind of shrug and go, yeah, that's what happens when you trade
off the
12 WAR.
Yeah.
You send out 12 WAR, stuff will happen. After Pyongyang, let's take a look at the Rain City Bitch Pigeons. Last year, they were 75-87 with a 462 win percentage. This second in the Central. This year, they're fourth in the Central with a 400 win percentage. 20-30 is their record. What's wrong with the Bitch Pigeons, Bear?
Exodus of talent. I think that's the best way to put it.
Their guy that they brought in this offseason, their big addition, was 2 WAR last year, Salvo Massi. Yeah, he sucks. He's having a rough start to the year. He has lost 80 points off his batting average. Salvatore Gutierrez appears to be washed as well. He's sub-replacement. He's a 189 hitter right now. It's a D's show. D's nuts, dragging them, the offense. Still, it's 7th in runs scored, largely because Zachary Dees has a 471 OBP. He's almost 50% on base. He's pacing for almost 10 WAR. Man is an absolute legend. How many times has he won the MVP? 6 MVPs. 6. I would say that Rain City's struggling to pitch the ball, as all their starters are kind of having a bit of a rough year. Raymond Werfel being this bad, because he's getting BABIP to bounce around a bit. He's up to 11.3 hits per 9. His home run rate has doubled. Still striking everybody out, but giving up twice as many home runs and having extra base runners because you're getting dinked for singles. It's a bit rough.
Yeah.
They also have a bunch of guys on the IL. Short term, yeah. you're not going to cry that 37-year-old fragile third baseman Remy Cartier is hurt, because like that's what happens to fragile 37-year-olds. He was playing pretty good. He's playing pretty good for the Bitch Pigeons ahead of his injury. Dae-Hyun Kim, bootleg, pretty reasonable relief pitcher. Wasn't good last year. Okay, well, he looks good. The results haven't come yet.
Looks good, but yeah.
Helio McCabe, making some money. 12 mils.
12 mils.
But yeah, it just looks like Horry, Dees, and Gooch. 3 guys that are actually contributing. I guess Mark Thiessen, alibi. He's doing all right too. He's getting on base. But I just yeah, they're struggling for offense. They're struggling to prevent runs.
When only 3 of 28 players playing well, there is issues.
I think it's difficult because the thing is that like Carlos Amaya, I think, won the Gold Glove at catcher last year. He left and they brought in Massey, who was just immediately tripped over his own dick en route to a rough start to the year. They let Makar Kalbakov leave last year as a free agent. He was kind of their number 2 starter, and he was very effective for this club. Trading Doberman, like moving out some of that talent there, and just having the core kind of erode around it. So the rest of like the support players have kind of eroded around the defections that have happened every year, and it's kind of hurt this club's upside. I still think that they have a reasonable future ahead of them. Truth be told, like I don't hate their prospect pool altogether. Like they've got some bright futures in the system.
Yep.
It's a little deeper than it is high end, but like Unbum Kim, the dream. That's gonna be a pretty good right fielder. Should be a real good right fielder one day. My scout doesn't like his range as much, which is why I'm specifying right fielder. But like an elite right fielder is pretty nice to have. Ask the Yankees how they feel about having Aaron Judge.
Oh yeah.
Oh, does that one sting? He's a free agent this year. Is that soon to sting? Free agency just opened. Rain City, I think, is about where we expect them to be. Maybe they're a little worse. I didn't expect them to be this bad. Perhaps like Raymond Werfel, I expect to be better, but I expected they would struggle.
I don't think the issue is there's so much exodus of talent when you only have like 3-4 good players. It's not gonna end well.
Indeed. Speaking of 3-4 good players, let's move on. Redondo Beach, the Trabdondo Neons, 82-80, 506 win percentage last season. They are currently 24-27 with a 470. I think they would be better than this, but then I didn't realize what we learned today.
Yeah.
They gave up their pitching park for a dinger park. They're hitting in Houston's Clown Park. That's world champion Houston.
The what people would call the cheating Astros.
The definite cheating Astros. Was Brett Kohut always bad defensively? Did I just not notice because he was so good at hitting?
He was minus 7.7 at zone rating last year.
Indeed. Anyways, Travdondo hitting, okay, not amazing, but the pitching has taken a massive step back. They are getting lit up. Angus Goodwin, Anus himself, is giving up a little bit more than he maybe has historically. No, I'm not quite sure. I think he's just been unlucky.
He looks like he's been unlucky.
K rate, walk rate, home run rate, hit rate, all basically in line with last year, just less effective overall. Seems unlucky. I can't imagine that is helped by the park, truthfully. Holgar Fogg, who looks pretty slick, actually, has not been good in his first kick at the can. Again, home run rate probably a little high. Walk rate probably a little high.
Yeah, Holgar Fogg looks like he should be doing much better. I even think his case per 9 should be much better as well.
Well, I was looking at Solano.
Hmm.
Home runs per 9 didn't shift at all. And like Sugimoto's home runs per 9 actually got better. Figueroa's got worse, but like for to move from like a point, I don't know, a 0.8 or a 0.9 home run rate to a 1.1, that's a significant shift. You'd expect like maybe a 20% even.
Yeah.
Now, again, it's a third of the way through the season, but I mean, like over the long term, you would expect effectively a 20% shift in the number of fly balls that are turning into home runs. So, argue they've actually been a little lucky in regards to the number of home runs. Doesn't show in the ERA. Like the ERA is not looking very good for most of their pitching staff. But like Ben Harness is crunking the ball. This helped him a little bit. Kohut having a bit of a sophomore slump. That wasn't expected. Juan Velez back to hitting like he's playing in Castlegar. Who could have foreseen that? Chris Wade that he got from Halifax has not taken a step forward, despite looking like a perfectly cromulent everyday player. I will note that Guillermo Moreno is bouncing up a little bit. He's looking to put up like career high power numbers, so somebody's benefiting from this part shift. But like, do we think over, under,
About
on
right.
par? About right?
Yeah.
I expected them to be better than 500, truthfully.
I think they're 500, just slightly over 500 team.
There's too much talent in the. I guess there's not enough talent in the lineup, right? Like they did lose 8 WAR in the offseason. I think they're getting budget crunched, truthfully. And it's interesting that they chose to move Parks towards a home run one as their offensive talent lessened, but their pitching talent stayed consistent. Like you would still think pitching is the strength of this team. So it's interesting to see them move to a hitter's park that has not benefited them.
Right.
Anyways,
Redondo Beach has the 12th highest budget in the league.
I think that's down from where they were. Truthfully.
100 and 210. Last year, 208.
Okay. What do I know? Yes, nothing.
What can
I don't
you
know.
do?
It seemed like a budget crunch thing. They moved Hirota. They let Castaneda walk.
I mean, they are spending 38 million less. No, 33 million less on the payroll. So
there we go. Moving along. This is an interesting one. Shanghai Dragons. Last year, they were 67.95 with a 413 win percentage. This year, they are 28.24 with a 538, second in the Asian division, 1 game back of Peking. Are they for real, Bear?
probably not.
Just an absolute animal, hey?
Hey, you there's no point beating around the bush. Go say out.
I was being rude, and I reached out, and I was like, lineup looks weird. It looks weird. I just didn't. I think I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be completely off base here. I didn't like Jetsam in the leadoff role. He's got 45 contact, 50 I just didn't think he was going to continue to get on base at a 356 clip. Elliot Trainer, who has historically been a 300 hitter, on base somewhere in the mid 340 to 373. I thought that was a better option up top, especially with some of the speed he's able to bring. I thought maybe that center fielder he signed in the offseason that was like just a random discovery. He's been so good. Jarno Van Vingarden. But like that dude's got a 60 I and a 60 contact and can run. Like maybe that's a leadoff hitter. I don't know. But like they had other guys that I thought were probably better. This team looks like they're turning around fast. And when I say that, like I don't like their pitching. I don't think their pitching is particularly good. Bill Rancourt is outperforming, only having 2 pitches, I guess. And he's really good, but like he has 2 pitches and he walks a lot of guys and he doesn't have great stamina. So like I always think he's going to just explode, but he's having a good year so far. Real strong year. Some of these other arms, like they seem okay. Like I like Eli Cerna a little bit. Again, I think this is a guy that only Shanghai can make work because of the amount of fly balls and their weird ass park.
Yeah, fuck Fenway.
Yeah, fuck Fenway. But like, I will note that like the guys they signed, Min-Soo Kim, Jetsam, having a good year. He's pacing for almost 6 WAR at second base. He's looking like a good get. He looks like Lewis Jenkins, classic Lewis Jenkins there. Christian Collado, is that worth 40 million? I don't know.
Find out
We
after
playing
the break.
We playing spreadsheets or are we playing baseball? He's on pace for almost 6 WAR. Again, he's been very effective with the leather, almost 7 zone rating, a 113 OPS plus. Like, it's looking good, and especially when that tails off a little bit and he's more of a 30 million player instead of a 40 million player. Like, he paid a lot for these guys, but like, they also look very good. I think the best, the feather in the cap is Jarno van Vingarden. It's like, this guy's pacing for 7 WAR at center field. He is stealing bases. He's hitting bombs. He's playing good defense. Like, this guy's going to be a straw that stirs the drink here. And he's got a 415 OBP. Like, the guys they've added from the international pool and random discoveries. And in trade, like, to be fair, Elliot Traynor was acquired in trade. That was big. Getting an arbitration eligible third baseman that's struggled to start, but like, he could be pretty good once again. Having Emmanuel Partida, the catcher, pacing for another 5 WAR season, like, this might be the best hitting catcher in the VL.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of spots in the lineup where you go, that's a garbage player. You know? Like, I don't think Bill Holder's particularly good. But if you have a Bill Holder in your lineup and the rest of everybody is 15% above average, pretty potent lineup. I think Shanghai probably isn't a 88 win team over the course of the season, but they should probably, especially if the pitching can hold, they're a wild card contender. The defense got very good. It went from very bad to very good. There's probably a reason the pitching is holding just together. You know.
Held together by duct tape.
Duct tape and hope, indeed. So, like, when we look at them and go, they lost 12 WAR last season. Yeah, they lost some players. They traded Alexander Boss. They let Wilbert Hoover leave. They also added the creme de la creme of international guys. So, like, I think they're probably better than they get credit for. They paid them a lot. So the question is, are they going to plateau because they can't have more budget? That's the real question I think I have for Shanghai is, can they take the next step? Do they have the pieces in the system to take that next step without spending more money?
Yeah.
But we'll see. Will the pitching hold?
Making playoffs might be the most important thing for them to keep.
I think Beijing might be better. Like, the pitching's definitely better in Beijing.
Yeah.
The lineup's definitely better for
the thing,
Shanghai.
The thing we got to remember is Peking are slowly going to descend.
Yeah. So, like, I just don't think all 3 are going to make it this year. Somebody's going to fall out of it, right? And then Pyongyang's got the best prospect pool in the division. So what are you going to do?
Yeah.
It's going to be tough. That's going to be the new battleground. We're over the Pacific. Our new one is the VL Asian. Moving along, Springfield. Last year, 96-66 for the 592 win percentage. This year, they're 29-21 with a 580. Over, under, about on par. What do you think?
They should be doing better.
You know, you hate to see it when Alexander Slesser just kind of sucks.
Yeah.
They are getting some good production out of Klassen, though. So, like, still recouping that from the fragile lad himself. Odwin Timmers doing some yeoman's work. And Placenta doing okay as well. Roberto Placencia. So, like, the pitching's been okay. Flaubert is having another strong season. Obviously not like last year, which was an all-timer, but, like, very strong reliever. They're doing a good job of preventing runs. And it's through the strong bullpen and the good enough rotation. And they're scoring runs without having a distinct thing that stands out.
Yeah. Like, I think the hitting should be doing a bit better, but...
We'll see. Like, they added Brent Gurley. Like, they added 6 WAR from Halifax, but Brent Gurley has not quite been himself so far. Looks like he's fallen off like a little bit here, and he hasn't quite provided that spark that they were hoping for. I'm sure he'll round into form. Sukwon Lee, he's been using at third base, which is that's a choice, but he's a really good player. Ikeda been playing first base, having a real renaissance as well, pacing for almost 4 WAR. So, like, this team can still hit. Just like right field hasn't been really contributing, and catcher kind of bad.
not great, not bad, to be honest.
You know, like Alex Trevino is doing his best again. Like he's still a very effective player, even if his defense isn't quite where it was before. And Van Kriech should probably be better than what he's been. So, I think you're right. I think this team has a higher upside than what we've seen so far.
Yeah. Like,
I think they might have some problems with some of their players. Like Arturo Velez has fallen off quite a bit and is not quite who he was before. And he's pretty injury prone. Ikeda is wrecked. Hashimoto is fragile. He's out again, even though he's having a really strong season. He's fragile, and so this is a team that could experience some injury issues throughout the course of the season. Like it kind of cost them their season last year.
it sort of reminds me of the old Sunnyvale. When Sunnyvale was...
Lots of dingers and just going, well, the button. Can't stop the button.
Yeah. I hope my my leg doesn't just suddenly break when I hit the ball.
Well, 4 out of their 5 starters are fragile.
Yeah.
And Velez, Ikeda, Hashimoto, like 3 of their best 5 players are again fragile. You know, so like there's some reason for concern with health, but like if healthy, like they should probably win this division, right? Like
Oh yeah, they should definitely win the division.
Definitely lower than expected.
Like I have high expectations, but it's difficult because of the fragility of the team. But
I would like to get a drink, sir. Just give me a sec here.
yeah, of course, man.
You know we've been talking too much. When?
And we never talked about what we're drinking either, so there's something to be said for that. I have a salted black porter from Fieldhouse Brewery.
I have a J2O apple and raspberry flavor.
Very nice. 2 hours in, we're letting people know what they really want to know.
Oh yeah.
All right. So did you continue just ripping on Springfield while I was gone?
I wasn't ripping. I'm just saying it's like a double-edged sword, isn't it? Like the old Sunnyvale, they're either gonna do very well, and on the grounds that somehow all their fragile players managed to live for 6 months, or every player and their dog dies, and
I think they're still good. They're going to make the playoffs. They
yeah.
whether or not they can, whether or not they compete is going to be on who's alive, and yeah, that's I guess a significant one, right? Moving along.
Enough.
Moving along, Sunnyvale Trailer Park Master Batters.
Yes.
Indeed.
I think this team is playing way over than expected.
Yes, I think that much is very clear. They didn't make a ton of additions this year. They actually lost Jack Hansen and Bernard Davies. Signed Felipe Cortez, who is injured, and they're injured again. Kenny Mendez is out. Cortez is out. Celadon's out. Everybody's out. And yet, 4th and run scored. Getting really good production out of their rotation. Song has been just a very nice find. 21st overall pick back in 2041. He has finally found where he should be pitching from, I guess, hey?
Yeah. Number 3.
I'm wondering if they're going to stay at the top. I'm kind of looking at this, and it's like, yeah, Lisong Lee, snapper, is having himself a year. Fringe MVP kind of season. But they're using Bill Selmy at shortstop, and yeah, I don't know if this is going to continue, right? Like, can it keep up? They can't keep getting away with this, right?
I just, it's hard. It's hard to explain how they're getting away with it. I mean, Lee is exceptional at the moment, so they
effectively have like 2 bats, and their rotation is just keeping them in it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not able to score runs for what 8 innings, and they're hitting 2, 3, 4, 5 runs, it's not much you can do, is there?
Rally and cry, baby. Got to win one for Gator.
Win one for Gator.
Their run differential has been so good this year. Like, I think my problem is just I don't understand where it comes from. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're actually below on Pythag.
Below on Pythag.
Yeah, like they're not, their record is not as good as it should be based on their run differential. Part of that's their home record has been really strong. Like, they've been really hard to beat at home.
Okay, they've been losing a lot of games by 1 or 2 runs.
Mm.
But when they win, they win.
Yeah. I'm just looking at it and, like, there's not a ton of guys here that look like they're amazing.
No, they're very very much everyday players.
But, like, Lee is so good, right? Like, that's the thing, is that Lee is so good, and Aya Riadi is a very effective hitter. We've got a couple other guys that have been performing okay so far. But again, the health is going to matter, and a bunch of their guys are underperforming what they kind of would expect to get from those positions. So that's something to be said there. Before he got hurt, Felipe Cortez was like sub replacement. So there's room for some improvement. But like the thing is that the Atlantic has not been its historical strength. Like it hasn't been as strong as historically it might have been. Are they good enough to fight off the Woodcucks and the Highlanders?
I doubt it. They can't keep going on like this forever, in my opinion.
Oh, there you go. Bear said it. I think they could be top 2 in this division, but it's mostly because I think the division is softer. And the thing is that the nature of the Woodcucks roster, the best Sunnyvale player is better than the best Woodcuck player. It's that the Woodcucks on average, on aggregate, are better. So, like, depends. If Lee is just going to be like, well, we're making the playoffs, get in.
Yeah, and then he's out with a back injury for 2 months next year.
Yep, there you go. Season ended.
Season.
Friendship ended with season. Zurich is our next one. They were 81-81 with a 500 win percentage last year. That's basically where they've been for a few years in a row now. They are currently the best record in a RFBL with a 620 win percentage, 31-19. Did you see it coming?
They showed signs of it last year. I didn't know it was going to continue, to be honest. Especially, they spent I think it was the beginning of last season and the season before that they were going to bloody cut it all up and rebuild. And then suddenly they found the light and learned how to play baseball.
I'll be real. I don't like their rotation. This team, to me, feels like it's going to fall off. Like, that's not just me being shitty about things. I really like Ivan Contreras. I think he's got more than what he's contributed so far. But, like, Joe McCarley's best days are ahead of him. I don't think he's here yet. Benedict Eugene is probably okay. Like, that's probably an okay guy to have. He's probably the second best pitcher in this rotation. That's a problem. Although, like, if Noah Jones is just going to be great, Keith Wood's going to be passable. Like, Keith Wood should be good. That should be a good player. Future's not here yet. He was fine last year. He's been sub replacement this year, maybe even a little unlucky on that. But like Noah Jones kind of makes up for that, pacing for 4.5 R-WAR. And Jacob Larson. Jacob Larson's the plan. I guess Jacob Larson's a part of this. It's a fragile dude that's never pitched a full season.
It's difficult.
It's difficult. I know they've built up quite a system here. The offense has been a strength. I don't see them being this good continuing. Like, they're second in runs scored in the VL. They're second in runs against in the VL. Their starters are still been very strong. The bullpen's been strong. Maybe the bullpen is just legitimately strong. I just don't see how the starters are going to keep this up.
I mean,
I
think the batting's probably one of the best in the league for everybody being involved rather than 1 or 2 players, which is probably helping them out to get quite a lot of wins. But,
okay. Do you think this lineup is better than Castlegar?
About similar. I don't think it's far similar. If you
Just interesting.
If you consider where Castlegar plays and what they usually play in within like their side of the conference versus Zurich, it balances out.
Like, I'm not saying this is bad, but I just mean, like, do we think that Pigpen Sorensen is a 7-war player? Because he's pacing for 36 bombs right now. He's hitting 300. Like, don't get me wrong. I like this player. He came out of the Cascar organization. I like Pigpen Sorensen, Matthias Sorensen. I just don't think he's a borderline 40-homer guy. Like, I don't think that should be controversial. Like,
I mean, it doesn't look like a 5-war guy, let alone a 7-war guy.
I know Odik Havlicek. Okay, yeah, I'll bite. That he looks really good. He looks for real. I really like Havlicek. Van Krimpen, Wolf. I don't think he's going to stay healthy. He's obviously underperforming this season. Tim Easterly performing really good. He's a good player that has been brought in. Is he this good? Is he a 5-war guy? Is he a 40 home run guy? Yeah, I think probably. But like, I guess I didn't expect it to happen this soon, right?
Yeah.
I like Liam Nasbaum. Jordan Vargas is solid. I guess so. I think I probably underrated this team, and I think there's reason to be skeptical about them being the best team in the RFBL.
I don't think they're the best team in the RFBL, but
Right now they have the best record and they have like the best run differential.
yeah. But I knew they were going to be up there. That's for one. They were showing signs of it last year, and they're improving upon it. Way further than I expected.
I guess I see them and I say, okay, yeah, maybe their batting's better than Kiev. How is their pitching outperforming Kiev's?
Yeah.
I guess injuries, right?
Injuries and a bit more solid bullpen, or at least like late bullpen.
Oh, Borstrom's fine. Borstrom's good. But yeah, no, fair enough. Like, the proof's in the pudding. The proof is right there in the numbers. So, yeah. I think they are overperforming where I expected. Clearly. You think they're on par?
I think they're on par.
Cool.
I wouldn't say the win percentage would be as high as it is. I had them down as like a 90-win team. But
okay, so let's do some predictions.
Right.
Let's go through the divisions. Let's go out on a limb. I say Pacific goes Kirkland, Castlegar, Travis, LA.
Kirkland, Gar, LA, Toronto.
Okay. Whatever. I think that at the end of the day, there's going to be 3 of those teams are going to be above 500.
Yeah, they will. It's just a matter of which one of the two is going to be below 500 come the end.
Yeah, somebody's going to get squeezed. Central, I say Springfield, Minneapolis, Hannibal, Rain City.
I would say the exact same.
Eastern, I'm going to be controversial. Motor City, Chicago, Kitchener, Montreal.
Yeah, I think Motor City will finish top. Slough second, and then it's a throw down to who's going to take the bottom place, and I think Kitchener will take 4th, and Montreal will stay 3rd. Somehow.
I think Kitchener's going to pass him.
I'm sure Zebby will try his goddamn hardest to try and keep that 4th spot.
Wilbert Hoover cannot be this bad forever. The Kurasu's too good. Like, I think the Zabbies are going to jump over Montreal, but they're still going to be 3rd. 3rd and out of 4 in a soft division. Atlantic, I think Cape Breton, Sunnyvale, Halifax, Newfoundland. Listen, the Woodcucks are 1 game back.
I know.
Do you believe? Do you want to fly like a cuck?
I always believe that Woodcucks will finish top. It just never happens.
Touche. Yeah, we can't completely ignore history, right? Euro Division.
Bears.
Is that your final answer?
It just Bears.
Okay.
Nah. It's gonna be Zurich, Kiev, Alaman, Bears.
I think there's going to be a dogfight for first. I think if Kiev's pitching staff are healthy, there'd be no contest.
It's
Well, not no contest, but like I think Kiev would be. We wouldn't be thinking Kiev might be second if they weren't kind of getting some guys having trouble in their rotation with health, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Like it's unlucky that Jose Flores was an elite starter, got hurt, and has been less effective since. It's even more unlucky when Mera picks up the slack and then immediately gets buttoned. Like
you can't have good things in this league.
you just can't have nice
experience.
things. I suspect that Kiev's offense will round out a little bit more, and I think Zurich will continue to have better offense, but I think their pitching, I don't know if they're going to be able to hold the fort the whole year. Even if Ivan Contreras has a big jump.
I mean, we've seen the Yellow Man survive off very lucky pitching.
We have. So we'll see. Like I think the Euro Division is much more competitive this year.
It's always been competitive.
Is Isle of Man going to continue to be this bad? Any reason?
Yes.
Any reason? Okay, well, here's my prediction. Kiev, Zurich, Isle of Man, Bears.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't think Nishika is going to continue to be this bad. Nikisha.
What
They did a spoonerism.
If the Bears don't get injured, watch the Bears somehow finish top through sheer bullshittery.
All right, in Asian Division.
Shanghai, Peking, Beijing, Pyongyang.
I'm going to say...
I can taste the Asian bullshit from a mile away.
Yeah. Is Peking's pitching just done? Like, it's just over. I guess Scandal's coming back. That's going to help a lot. All right, yeah. Peking. I'm going to say Peking, Beijing, Shanghai, Pyongyang.
Yeah, I don't think Pyongyang will be the worst team in the league, though.
No, definitely not.
Well, at least second worst, even second worst. I think they're pipe up a bit eventually.
I think Pyongyang will finish ahead of Montreal.
Yeah.
Maybe Rain City. If Rain City trades anybody else, then Pyongyang's gonna.
There's rumors that D's might be going, so.
Yeah, if Dees gets traded and he's like been worth approximately like the prorated 10 WAR, if you subtract a 10 WAR player out of that and there's nobody coming in, like it's gonna get bad fast.
It's gonna be entertaining.
I think that's probably a feature, not a bug.
Oh, it's definitely a feature.
Yeah. But yeah, there you have it. You got some predictions. I'm going to say my ultimate prediction here, and this is totally a kiss of death. Totally an absolute kiss of death. I think Kirkland wins this year.
I think Woodcock's winning this year.
That'd be fun. I think I'm going to say Kirkland, and the reason I say it is because I think last year I won with a team that was worse than the previous two teams that had missed the playoffs. And it just there's some sort of knee jerk where you just think that maybe they learned something. I know that's not how it works, but I just it'd be just one of those things where Kirkland goes on a fuck you run and just takes the ring. Well, worst team this year than I've had for a decade. I'm gonna win this year. That's just how this game works. It's just how it goes. So early on, I'm taking. I think I'm gonna bet on Kirkland.
I believe in the Woodcocks. Long live the Woodcocks.
Bless our woodcuck overlords. But there you have it. Thanks once again for joining me, sir. Thank you if you've made it all the way through this slog. I have no idea how long we've been talking. Probably
2 hours and
6
10
hours.
minutes.
Oh my god. Oh, that's a long time. I'm definitely in trouble now.
Yeah, let me read the quote. I've got approximately 60 to 90 minutes before dinner.
Yeah, I'm in trouble. She brought it down and put it here, and I haven't eaten it, and now I'm in trouble because I didn't eat it, and now it's cold.
It's 2 hours and 40 minutes since that message was sent.
I'm just bad. I'm so bad.
Oh no! In the doghouse tonight.
I am. Yeah, I am. It's entirely my fault, though. Bless her. Bless her heart for putting up with me. Anyways, on that note,
thank
you for joining me once again, sir. I'm sorry our special guest didn't make it in.
Maybe next
What
time.
can you, maybe next time we can get some sour grapes going. It'll be good. But until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Who did I just caught that from somebody?
I don't know.
Like-
I wouldn't have
Like a
clue.
Bob Barker thing or something? Spay and neuter your pets.
That means absolutely fuck all to me.
That's the real Bob Barker thing.
Oh. Don't even know who it is, but yeah.
It's the Price is Right guy.
Oh, yeah, we had Bruce Forsyth here.
I have no idea who that is.
Exactly.
English Bob Barker.
Yeah, English Bull Barker.
On that note, thank you once again for joining me, sir. And this has been the RFBL report with Bear and Bad Downsky.
This has been the RFBL report with Bear and Batdowski. To find out more about the RFBL, including stats and history, you can go to statsplus.net/RFBL. To find more episodes of the RFBL report, you can go to Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Buzzsprout, and YouTube.